I'm Rex Rogosh, and let's queer up trans rights. One of Texas' largest cities is formally recognizing transgender history for the first time. The San Antonio City Council in Texas approved a resolution recognizing May 4th through 10th as Trans Plus History Week, an internationally observance held each year during this week of May 6th, known as Trans Plus History Day. The date commemorates the 1933 Nazi raid on the Institute of Sexology, one of the earliest centers for the study of gender and sexuality, and a pioneer in transgender advocacy. Out San Antonio City Councilman Jalen McKee-Rodriguez introduced the proclamation. McKee-Rodriguez said the recognition was about respecting all residents, adding, quote, "The way that we talk about each other matters, and it's pushing people to make life-ending decisions, so we all have the duty to treat each other with respect and kindness and love," end quote. Naveen Farrani, spokesperson for Equality Texas, said, quote, "At a moment when both our state and country are systematically trying to push trans people out of public life, erase our stories, and outright deny our existence, this is proclamation recognizing Trans History Week is a beacon to trans people in San Antonio and across Texas," end quote. San Antonio has continued promoting queer inclusion despite ongoing tensions with the conservative state government. In March, the city unveiled rainbow sidewalks tied to its annual Pride celebration, shortly after Texas Governor Greg Abbott's administration pushed to remove rainbow crosswalks on city roads. LGBTQ plus activists and local transgender leaders believe it is important for San Antonio to take such a stance and remain an example of inclusion in Texas. It's interesting to talk about Texas. I mean, I grew up in Texas. I grew up right outside of Houston. And it's interesting that most of the cities are very liberal. In fact, we had a lesbian mayor in Houston for a very long time.
Wow.
You know, Austin is a college town. Dallas has a huge gay area, Turtle Creek. So it's interesting that you have all of these very LGBTQ friendly and inclusive areas within the larger state of Texas. And it's always a battle. And it's always been a battle. So it's really good to see that these cities are really standing up. And there's a lot of influx, both in Austin and San Antonio, of people from California moving there because a lot of the tech and oil companies moved into those areas because Texas has really has zero income tax laws and really good business laws. So you're seeing a huge influx of people with very liberal views as well. So we're starting to see Texas trying to go very purple, even though you have like a stronghold of the governor going, this is what we're doing, because you have huge rural populations that are still, injecting, kind of like Florida. You have
it's exactly like Florida. Yes,
you've got pockets that are huge
these big cities,
that are very liberal, but then you've got a lot of rural people that are, very just uneducated.
Yeah, I can't handle.
I guess it's true what they say. You're a very tall gentleman yourself, and everything is much bigger in Texas, right? They grow them big there.
Yes, we do.
All right. So I just want to say, hey, being in a big city in Texas might be a really good time for anybody involved. So you should get over there and support the queers over there. And I like the idea of the sidewalks. They didn't put it in the road; they put it on a sidewalk. So maybe that was a way of kind of getting around.
Well, we saw that happen in Miami. South Beach did the same thing. There's always a way around things. If you can't fight the government, everybody always says we always find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. So you can't do anything on private property. You can start, Wilton Manors put up the bike racks. They painted, like there are ways of getting around and still showing pride. And it's really good to see that the cities themselves, which in a way are autonomous, they don't have a lot of, the state can't impose a lot of jurisdiction on certain things, and they're using that to voice, concern. They're using that to raise the voices of their constituents and their population within the city. So that's, congratulations, San Antonio.
Bravo.
Just really quickly, I never thought I would ever go to Texas because I always just thought like it was hot. It was like Florida. I'm already in Florida. What do I need to go to Texas for? I'm actually part of a grant program for history teachers where they took us to San Antonio. It was all expenses paid, which was amazing. We stayed in great hotels, amazing. And we had a great time, and we went to all of the different missions in San Antonio. I won't get into the history, but it's a very, there's a lot of history in Texas, there's a lot of indigenous organizing. There's a lot of community culture there. And it doesn't surprise me that a place like San Antonio would be one of the flagship places in Texas that would be celebrating trans visibility, because they're doing so many things right in that city, just, you know, in terms of reclaiming their nativeness, in indigeneity. Actually, I learned that word when I was there. Their indigeneity, their, you know, what life was like before the Spanish colonization. I just want to say my hats off to you, San Antonio. And I would love to come back. So if anybody wants to, you know, sponsor a trip for me to go back, I'd be more than happy to take it.
And hopefully the 6 Flags of Texas becomes 7, and one of those is a queer flag.
Yeah. Oh,
there
that
is
would be
no
fun.
other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.